Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with number 94 in the series Viewers Games. And at the end of this video I will tell you how you can win a chess book. I'm going to challenge the viewers of Chess to Impress. But first let's look at this viewers game. It's from Sean. And Sean is an interesting character. He's from the Netherlands, lives in the Philippines and has an Irish first name. And Sean is a very good chess player, as we'll see in this game. Hello Rick, my name is Sean. And I just wanted to say I really enjoy both your channels and find them very helpful. Some context on this game. It was played online on chess.com when I still use that website. I'm on Lead Chess now. I was about 1780 rating and my opponent was about 1800. The time control was 30 minutes for each side, no increments or delay. And Sean was black in this game, so let's look at the game from the black side. The white player was Eugene2729 with a rating of 1808 and black was our hero Sean with a rating of 1784. E4 was the first move by white and Sean answered E5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, knight f6 and now knight g5 leads to complications, attacking that weak point on f7, but white decides on knight c3. Going into the 4 knights game. Bishop c5, d3, d6, and here bishop g5 is the main move played by grandmasters in this position, but white plays h3. Castling from Sean, now bishop g5, h6 kicking that bishop, bishop went to h4, and bishop e6. One of the points of h6 was to be able to play that bishop to e6, it will never be able to get harassed by a knight to g5. Knight d5 from white. Sean took it with the bishop. Bishop takes and rook b8, so that the knight on c6 can play without dropping the b7 pawn. Castling from white. Knight d4 from Sean. That knight was kicked and went to e6. Sean is keeping the pieces on the board. He could also have taken on f3. Here d4 is the best move according to the engine. And then e takes d4, c takes d4, bishop back to b6 and rook e1. The engine likes this for white because of the nice pawn center formation. But black is very solid. In this position, white decided not to go for d4. He went for a4, expansion on the queen side. a5 from Sean, rook e1, and knight f4. Sean is now threatening to take twice on d5, winning a pawn, so white plays his bishop away back to a2. Queen d7, and now d4 is again a move that the engine really likes, but white decides to take on f6 to ruin black's pawn structure on the king side. G takes and knight h4. King h7 with a plan to move the rook to the half open file. Now d4 finally from white, and here rook g8 is a good move, threatening to take on h3 with the knight or with the queen because the g pawn is pinned. Rook g8 is a good move, but here Sean makes a mistake. He took on h3. Very spectacular, but it does not work. What is the point? Well, the point is that if you take the knight, then there is queen takes, and this looks very, very good for black. The knight is hanging, the rook is coming to g8, all sorts of checkmate threats. There's hardly any protection for the white king. White can still stay in the game with the computer move knight g6, and that still keeps some advantage for white, believe it or not. Anyway, that's probably what Sean had seen when he took on h3, and that's what white saw, and he decided not to take the knight. He played king f1, the strongest move in the position. Nice move from white after 1 minute and 25 seconds of thought. Now 2 black pieces are hanging and white has the advantage. Sean took on d4, c takes d4 and bishop b4. Nice move, counter-attacking the rook, saving the bishop, attacking the rook. Rook e3 and knight f4. It looks like Black has saved both his pieces and has won a pawn in the process. Well done, Sean. But still, there is a very strong continuation now for white, which gives him a big advantage. He should have played queen f3 here. Attacking the knight. If the knight goes back to e6, then there is queen f5 check. And this is totally winning for white. His attack is very strong. If you go to g6 with the knight, give a bit more protection to your king, then knight f5 is a very strong move. White again has a winning attack. So queen f3 should have been played in this position, but white did not see it and played knight f5. Rook g8 from Sean, the only move to deal with the threat of queen g4, which would have threatened the knight and checkmate on g7. So rook g8 had to be played. g3 from white, and the knight went back to e6. Queen h5, threatening checkmate on h6. It all looks very scary for black, but in this variation, black is okay, and Sean keeps a cool head. Rook g6 to protect against the checkmate, and now you may want to think of bringing the a-rook into the attack, with king g2 to swing the rook over, but that would be a huge blunder, because there is knight f4 check, and that's a very nice fork. Winning the queen, the g-pawn cannot take because of the pin. So that's not possible. White played knight h4, attacking the rook attacked the queen. Queen d1 is the best move here, but white played a bad move. He went to f3 with the queen. And now Sean can get an advantage, a big advantage, by taking on d4, hitting the queen. Queen takes f6, but then there is queen h3 check. You cannot interpose the knight because this is checkmate. And if you go to g1 with the king, there is rook b to g8 with a big advantage for black. Now black is attacking. This is quite an amazing game. In some variations, white is checkmating the black king, and in some variations it's the other way around. So after queen f3, Sean could have taken on d4, a very strong move. But he played queen e7 instead, protecting his f6 pawn. Knight f5 hitting the queen, and also protecting the d4 pawn. Queen d7 and queen h1, attacking h6 again. Rook back to g6 to protect the pawn on h6, and b3, protecting a4, but blocking in the bishop, which is now a very silly piece. b5, good move from Sean, played after 54 seconds. g4 from white, and here b takes a4, b takes a4, queen takes a4, wins the second pawn for Sean, and that would have been a good option. Instead, Sean played knight g5. That knight was kicked with f4, but Sean had bishop d2, played after 3 minutes and 22 seconds, and it's a strong move. It's counter-attacking the rook. If you take on g5, then bishop takes e3, knight takes e3, and black is better here. But it's still a very complicated position. After bishop d2, f takes g5 was not played. White played the rook to d3, counter-attacking the bishop. But now Sean took on f4. Took that pawn that was attacking his knight. Rook e1, and b takes a4. Sean has now 3 extra pawns, and is winning. Rook e2, queen b5, attacking the rook. Rook to c3, and c5. Sean advances with his extra pawns. D takes c5, d takes c5, and queen g2. And here let's see what Sean thought of this position. He said, I played risky for most of the game, and by move 37, which is this move, I felt I had this game down, and it was an easy win. Unfortunately, I was blinded by my overconfidence and started playing stupidly. Very honest assessment from Sean. Overconfidence is dangerous in chess indeed. He played rook e8, and knight d6 was played, and that's a big blunder. Sean says, when he played 38 knight d6, I did not see that my bishop can take the knight. From there I kinda panicked, because my position started crumbling. This combined with a ticking clock, I only had like 2 or 3 minutes left with no increment, led me to making a bunch of stupid moves and losing the game from a 1 position. Yes, indeed, you can just take that knight. Backward moves are hard to spot. We see that time and time again, even in Grandmaster games. Sean did not see that he could take the knight. Of course, the knight is forking 2 pieces, and as Sean says, here he panicked. He played queen b4, counter-attacking white's rook on c3. The rook went to c4, counter-attacking the queen. And here queen b6 is still possible. Yes, white can take the rook, but there is a takes b3, and this is still winning for black, with 4 pawns for the rook. Black's queenside pawns are far advanced and very dangerous, and white's pieces are not coordinating well. This is a winning position for black, even though it's a rook down. So all that after rook c4 and then queen back to b6. Just let that rook be taken. Sean played a different move and a bad one. He played queen a3, but it was not punished. Can you see the refutation of queen a3? It is very cute. White can play knight b5. And that is trapping the queen. The queen has no squares. The queen is lost. Again a backward move that was not spotted by white. Instead he made a logical move. He just took the unprotected rook. Sean took on b3. Bishop back to b1. And queen a1. Yes, black blundered his queen. But as white did not recognize that, black still has the better position because of his queenside pawns. He's attacking the bishop, so rook e1 was played. And here queen e5 is the strongest move in the position. And black is better. But unfortunately, Sean played a4 instead. And now white has a move that wins on the spot. Again, if you want to look for it, put the video on pause. If you can find the shot that decides this game. It's a very nice move. It is e4 to e5. And the threat is now bishop takes g6, which is check, with a discovered attack on the queen. What to do against that? Queen a3 doesn't work, because knight takes f6 check leads to checkmate. Sean tried something else. He tried b2, protecting the queen. Bishop takes g6 check was played. King has to take, and if you now take the queen, then black gets a new queen. And black is winning this game. But white is not interested anymore in winning the queen. He's going to checkmate the black king. Queen c2 check leads to a forced checkmate. Knight e4, black has to give away his pieces. He has no choice. Queen takes e4 check. King g5 only move. Queen f5 check. The king has to go to h4. And here, king g2 is the quickest way to checkmate. Yes, you can make a second queen, but this is checkmate. In the game, white played queen h5 check. It takes a few more moves, but it also leads to checkmate. King g3, rook c3 check. Everything goes with check. Bishop e3 interposing. That bishop is taken. And after king f4, there is checkmate on the board. And after 51 moves, white had won this game. A very high quality game, full of twists and turns. Both players attacking the opponent's king. We saw a queen being trapped. We saw a rook being lost for nothing. And black was still winning with his queenside pawns. Quite a game. Well played, Sean. Thank you very much for sending it to me so I could share it with the Chess to Impress community. And nice of you to send in a game that you lost. It was a very instructive and entertaining game. Thank you, Sean, and well played. Now let me tell you how you can win a chess book. This book, The Mating Game from James Essinger and International Master Jovanka Huska, who's described in this book as one of the leading women players in the world. Well, that is not really true, but it's a nice book. It's a novel, and it's made available by my sponsor, The Beste Zet, which you see here in the top left. It's a Dutch web shop for chess books, and they're working on an English version as well. I was thinking of trying something new. Why don't we play a game of chess, myself against the Chess to Impress viewers? And every week we'll make a move. You can tell me in the comments which move you would like to play in this position, and at the end of the game I will raffle the book amongst the people who have taken part in this game. Let's see how it goes. Maybe there's no interest in it, and then I might drop the idea altogether, but let's try it. In correspondence chess, the use of databases and engines is allowed, for the simple fact that it cannot be controlled. So let's do the same thing. Let's agree that we can use databases and engines. If you don't want to do that, even better, I will try not to do it. I'm gonna take white, why not? And my first move is d2 to d4. So put the move you want to play with black in the comments of this video. Hopefully we get a number of responses and the move with most votes counts. So hopefully you will take part in this and we can have a fun game. I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed Sean's game. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel and please leave a comment. If you like the video, if you like the series, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. If you would like your game to be analyzed, you can send it to me by email to classroomchess64@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.